Good morning, Mr. Jason. As you know, we are educators from Saudi Arabia. We will spend many weeks in here in your school. So we have to take information from you about the relationship between the school and the stakeholder. So we have many questions for you. We can start with, what are the types of committees that you have in your school that involve in the stakeholders?
Okay, so within the school we have basically two primary committees. First one is our leadership committee. It's made up of all of our department chairs, and then we have a couple other teachers that we kind of hand select to be on that committee. There's two guidance counselors on that committee, and then also our athletic director. That committee meets once a month, and almost every decision that's made in this building goes through that leadership committee. So if there's something that has to be talked about or decided upon, we'll bring it to the leadership committee. We'll talk about it, kind of go over the pros and cons, and then those leaders within the building take the issue back to their departments and get more input from the other teachers in the building. So that's kind of our first committee within the school that involves stakeholders. Our second one is a faculty advisory committee, and that committee's job is to bring to administration any concerns. So all the teachers in the building know who those faculty advisory committee people are. They can send them any kind of complaints or any concerns that they have. Then once a month, administration sits down with them and we talk about the problems. In order to submit a problem to that committee, you also have to submit what you think would be a good solution. So that way it kind of prohibits it from just being a session where we just complain. So if you're going to bring a complaint to that committee, you also have to provide a solution, and then the administration will talk about that, talk about the proposed solution, and then we'll try to come up with a solution going forward. Sometimes we use the solution that's provided, and sometimes we can't for a variety of reasons. So I would say those are probably our two committees within the school that we utilize the most.
Okay, thanks. So what are the methods that you use to communicate with the stakeholders the most effective ways?
So I think we do a variety of things well to communicate with a variety of stakeholders. One method that we use in the district is something called Let's Talk, and it's on our district's website. There's a little icon on the corner that you can click on it, and you can submit whatever is on your mind. And then that,
as a parent, so they can...
Yes, as a parent, as a student, as a staff member, it's anonymous. So you go there, click on it, say, I am a parent, you type in your concern, and then that concern gets routed to the appropriate party. So if it's...
Who's the person who has responsibility to respond to them?
So it gets routed to the appropriate party. So if somebody goes on Let's Talk and submits a problem about Oakvill High School, it'll come to our administration. But if somebody goes on and submits a problem about Oakvill Middle School, then it goes to that school.
Category?
Yeah, it goes. It's determined by who should answer that question. And it used to not be that way. It used to be all at the district level, but then the district level, they were getting questions that they didn't know the answers to because they were building questions. So so now it's working a lot better. It's way more efficient. We're able to get the answers quicker because they come straight to the people who know the answers. So that's one way that we communicate with stakeholders, where they can kind of voice their concerns, ask questions,
through
things like that. Yes, through that. We have a variety of district committees. Any decision that's made within the district, we usually have a committee. The committees always involve community members. There's usually an application process, so we'll send out an email or put something out to all the community members that says, hey, we're looking to form a committee on high school scheduling. That's one that we have going on right now. So people apply for that position and then they're selected. So there's a representation of people who are parents, people who are students.
Selected by who?
Usually the district will select a committee chairman that isn't really involved with like the high school scheduling committee. The gentleman who's the chairman is not involved really with either high school. So then he can sit down with a couple of the other administrators and they can select and get a fair representation. We have a high school scheduling committee. We have a communication advisory committee that you guys went to that meeting. We have a insurance committee. We have a policy committee. We have a calendar committee. So all these decisions that the district makes are made with the input of community members. Our superintendent, one time a year, gives something called the State of the District. So he gives a big speech. It's open for anyone in the community to come, and he provides a summary of the state of our district. Financially, any new initiatives that we have coming down, tax information, instructional information, all those types of things. And that's kind of modeled after the President of the United States gives a State of the Union address every year where he basically goes and reports on how our country's doing. So we do the same thing, just on a smaller scale. We also use social media is huge. We put a lot of things out on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Emails, we have a huge email database where we communicate. We have text messages that we can send out to parents and different stakeholders. Do you have meetings with them
or special events?
We have, yes, every year we have an open house. That's where all the schools are open. The public can come in, they can walk around the building, they can go visit their child's classrooms. Then a couple times a year we have an open house for people who aren't parents. So if it's just somebody who lives in the community, they can come look at our facilities. They can just get a view of the school, so that way they can say, oh, you guys need a new gym floor, or oh, you need replacements here, so they have an idea of what it looks like in our building.
Or they can make like a financial support for the school? They
can make donations. A lot of times we don't get a lot of donations because everybody pays taxes and part of the taxes goes to the school. So everybody makes a donation, kind of by default.
Oh, okay. What about the partnership? Do you have any partnership with the private sector?
We do. We have a program for our kids that's an employment opportunity where they get to leave school early throughout the day, and then they work at different businesses in the community. Kind of teaches them, about responsibility, allows them to network with people in the community. They get credit for it in class. So we have those partnerships. We have parent-teacher organizations that work kind of with our school for different events to put on for our kids. We invite businesses into the building. I know once a year we have, with my business department, we have like a kind of an advisory committee that comes in. It's got representatives from all kinds of different businesses, and they basically tell us what they want their employees to be able to do, and then we try to incorporate that into the curriculum.
Oh, that's good. One more question about the communication. How do you communicate school to school within your district?
Within the district, school to school, we have, well, I guess the biggest way is the third Monday of the month we have something called an all hands meeting. And it kind of means like all hands on deck. So every building administrator, principal, assistant principal, all the district administrators, we all get together and we have to report out to the big group. So like last meeting, our school reported out our ACT scores, our attendance rates, just different pieces of data so that everybody else in the district kind of knows.
Like a schedule or something for your meeting?
Yes, yeah, we have every meeting that we have these, we have to have some data to present. and it varies on what we present, kind of, you know, by the time of year. We get all of our state test scores around this time, so we presented those last time. And all the schools do that. All of the directors report, technology directors, so we all have a once a month opportunity to hear what the other schools are doing, to see what state our district is in, to get information that really we normally don't have access to. And then we use that to see if there's anything that we can work on together.
Yeah, it's kind of cooperation between you.
Right. I know one thing that came out of that, our high school students now go to one of our elementary schools, and they're working on some projects with the little kids. So that came out of that. Both high schools then can kind of collaborate and see, okay, what can we do in terms of professional development to improve scores or things like that. So it's nice to hear what's going on in the other buildings, because we don't get into the other buildings very much.
Oh, that's good. So it's kind of get benefit from other experience.
Yes, yes. And then, I mean, even if things are presented by the middle schools, then we can take that and say, oh, well, that worked at the middle school level, or this is what they're doing. Maybe we can try it here at the high school level.
Okay, Mr. Jason, can you satisfy the importance of building good relationship with the stakeholders? So,
it's very important to have good relationships with the stakeholders. In our situation, for a variety of reasons, we count on our community a lot for a variety of things. We count on them, I guess, number one, for funding. You know, in America, education is funded directly through property taxes. So when we present to the community that we want to raise taxes so that we can have more money to do things, the only way they're going to vote yes on that is if we have a good relationship. So I think for funding purposes, it's very, very important. You know, the second reason is we're dealing with their most prized possession, that's their children. So there's a old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. So I mean, we all have a role in it. You know, we're with the kids for a couple hours a day, but you know, parents and community members need to be aware of what we're trying to do here, so that hopefully they can reinforce those things outside of school. So kids are getting the same information, they're getting the same lessons, the same values taught all the time, not just when they're at school.
or maybe they can
Mr.
work.
Brennan, we're in the cafeteria.
Maybe
Sorry.
they can work with you as a volunteer, like as we've seen here.
Yeah, we have volunteers that do a variety of things. I know at the elementary levels, there's a lot more parent involvement. Parents come in and help in the classroom. At the high school level, we don't have so much of that, but we do have a lot of parent volunteers that chaperone dances, or they'll come help us out. I'm thinking of one parent in particular. She runs our concession stands for every sporting event that we have. We couldn't do it without her, you know, the help that she gives us. We have parent organizations that provide different events for our kids. We have at Oakville on graduation night, we have something called All Night Grad, and our parents organize that so that our kids on graduation night can go and they basically spend the whole night having fun, and keeps them out of trouble, keeps them safe, keeps them from maybe doing some things they shouldn't be doing. But yeah, we have a wide variety of volunteers. We have volunteers that help coach sports that aren't employed by the district. So yeah, we count on them a lot.
What about the before and after school programs? Do you think that it's a good way to communicate with the stakeholders or cooperate with them?
I think so. At the elementary level, there's more before school activities. They start a little bit later in the day, so you know, parents who work have to drop them off, and they do more things than we do. After school activities are a great way. Community involvement at after school activities is pretty big here. Like a Friday night football game is, I mean, that's like the big thing to do for the community. You guys got to see, you know, a high school football game. We did a fundraiser, you know, for breast cancer at that game that you guys were at. So that's a great way to show the community that we try to do other things here besides school. We're trying to help the community. We're trying to provide support maybe for those who need it. So a lot of those after-school events are utilized to help the community because they help us so much.
Do you take like feedbacks from them? And you
Oh
take
yes,
it
yeah,
seriously?
yeah,
You
we
work
do.
with it?
We definitely do. The communication committee that I'm on now, we are developing surveys that will go out twice a year to all the community to basically measure how successful we're being, to see what the community thinks about some of the things we're doing. But yeah, we always are open to feedback. That Let's Talk option that I mentioned is a good way for people to give feedback as well.
Okay, thanks for all your information that you shared with us. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.